Bento multi-perspective visualizations for FHIR IGs. Here we go, floor is yours.
Thank you. So hello, my name is Saman. I'm a software engineer at Verily Canada. Before joining Verily, I was at Google. And then this is my second year at FHIR DevDays actually. And I wanted to show off my socks from last year. So they have become my lucky socks for conferences. My work involves basically maintaining Verily's internal implementation guide. Today, I would like to share with you a tool that my team developed to facilitate browsing and maintaining our IG. Okay, so let's get started with a common challenge that we face: how effectively navigate a complex FHIR IG. At Verily, our internal FHIR IG is a living entity. It's constantly growing and evolving. A large number of engineers contribute to its development, which is fantastic for progress, but also adds layers of complexity. We found that this rapid evolution and distributed contribution model made it challenging for team members, especially those onboarding, to quickly grasp the structure and relationship between our numerous profiles. Also, a critical pain point was understanding the net effect of changes. With each modification made using FHIR shorthand or FISH, it was not immediately obvious which resources would be truly added, removed, or altered. So this led us to develop Bento, this tool that I'm presenting today, which is designed specifically to bring clarity and insight into FHIR IGs. So our core goals with Bento were twofold. First, we wanted to make sure that IGs are accessible and understandable by all engineers, regardless of how familiar they are with FHIR. And second, we wanted to streamline the review process for any updates or changes that are added to our IG. So to achieve these goals, Bento offers two key utilities: a profile parent-child relationship graph visualizer and an IG version diff feature, which I'm gonna talk about them one by one. So let's dive into the first utility, visualizing profile relationships. So basically this feature generates a graph that clearly showcases the parent-child relationship between different profiles. How this is helpful? It will provide an intuitive understanding of how profiles inherit from the base FHIR types or other profiles. And from an impact analysis perspective, it helps understanding the potential effect if you are considering a change to a base profile. You can see what other profiles might be affected downstream. So here is an example. It's not very clear, but basically this is US score observation profiles. I use the tool to generate this graph. Let me see. So here you could see like the observation resource. Here we have like the profiles that are directly derived from it, and then like other profiles that are indirectly derived from it. And also we have the vital signs. You have US score vital signs that are derived from vital signs, and US score like BMI, for example, derived from it. So this, like our tool is able to generate such graph for each resource type, and then this will help engineers in our team to clearly understand the relationship and existing profiles in our IG. Okay, now let's focus on the second utility of this tool, which is IG version comparator. So basically the tool is designed to track the evolution of IGs over time. It can compare two versions of a given FHIR implementation guide and provides a clear, concise summary of the differences. Specifically, it will clearly list what resources have been added, what resources have been deleted or modified. With every FISH pull request, we use this feature to automatically generate a diff. This will allow PR reviewers to immediately focus on actual changes. It also helps reduce errors by making it easier to catch unintended addition, deletion, or modifications. Again, let's look at an example. Here I run the tool to compare US score version 7 against US score version 8. So as you can see, it clearly indicates that there are 8 total resources have been added from 7 to 8. And then like you can see that it includes some structure definitions such as ADI document reference, and also the value sets such as like US core location type. The diff also shows the resources that have been deleted. Like in this comparison, you could see that from US core 7 to US core 8, a total of 5 value sets were removed. For example, discharge disposition or encounter type. And finally, the diff also lists the all modified resources. Like again, in this example, there were 82 modified resources. Here I just left, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them. But you can see that this includes like capability statement resources, code systems, implementation guides, and various structure definitions that have been modified from version 7 to version 8. So Bento does not just stop at listing what resources have been modified. It can also show you how it was modified. So you could use the resource diff command, and then it can compare 2 versions of a specific resource. So here we are looking at the code system US core category from version 7 to 8. And then you could see that when you like look at the diff clearly shows that a new concept, a new code observation ADI document with its display and definition was added. And then that way you could dig deeper and find out how all those 82 resources that were listed as modified, how they have been modified. So beyond the direct changes, Bento also has the capability to infer impacts, especially for extensions. So when an extension is detected as modified, Bento can trace this impact. It does this by examining all profiles in the IG, and then it will list those that utilize the modified extension. So in this case, for example, like we detected US core birth sex extension has been modified, which means that that modification will impact the US core patient profile because it uses that extension. Or in this case, US core extension questionnaire URI has been modified, which it will impact the US core questionnaire response. This extension, US core direct, like it's not listed, like no profile is listed under it because no profile directly uses it. And this is one of the limitations. Like we need to improve the tool to also be able to find like relationships like this. And additionally, like the current limitation is regarding broader transitive impact. So at present, Bento does not automatically infer all transitive changes across different resource types. So for example, if a code system is modified, Bento will report the change to the code system itself, but it does not automatically identify and list all the profiles or extensions that have been that bind to that code system. This is one of the future development features that we are planning to add. Okay, so with that, let's just take a quick look at some of the technologies that we use to build Bento. So the tool is implemented in Go, which we chose for its performance and excellent concurrency features. We leverage Google's FHIR protocol buffer, which are key for efficient parsing and providing strong typing, giving us a structured representation of FHIR resources. For comparing resources, we use diff function from the GoComp library. This allows for like a very detailed field-by-field comparison of FHIR resources. So this combination of Go and FHIR protobufs gives Bento a performance advantage, enabling it to process and compare very large IGs quickly and efficiently. So Bento really excels at identifying these direct changes within individual resources. Looking ahead, our next big goal is to move beyond just identifying what changed to understand the hows of those modifications. We want to be able to understand and classify changes. Specifically, we want to distinguish between 2 types of backward incompatible changes. Like there could be narrowing changes, which basically these are changes that make the profile stricter. So for example, imagine we had a optional element and then the optional element have been modified to required, or imagine we had a binding strength and made it stricter. So for example, we move from example binding to required binding. And then there are other types of backward incompatible changes, widening changes. Like those are changes that make the profile more permissive. For instance, again, like the opposite of the other two example, we had an required field and we modify it to optional, or we expand the value set by including more concepts. Our vision is to enable more robust, safer, and predictable IG evolution. It's worth noting that this work directly builds upon some of the challenges and insights that we discussed at FHIR DevDays last year. Like Vaji and I, we presented this talk. And in that talk, we highlighted that the significant issues that backward incompatible changes can introduce for systems that are already live in production. Being able to automatically characterize like these changes as narrowing or widening will be a huge step toward detecting and managing these risks more effectively. Okay, so with that, I would like to thank my colleagues, like a huge thank to all my Verily colleagues. This work wouldn't be possible without their dedicated effort of like many people at Verily who passionately built like an extensive and robust Go library for manipulating FHIR resources. And I would like to thank my teammate Alex, who has been like the main contributor to Bento. And also finally, a big thank you to wider FHIR community for your continuous innovation, collaboration, and like welcoming new members. So if you like to reach out, discuss Bento, like you have feature requests, please feel free to reach out to me. Like my contacts is here. Unfortunately, I was working on open sourcing the tool. I was not managed to finish it, but I promised that I'll like open source it within maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And also, like I have another talk on Friday, which is like a fish linter. So again, along the same lines, like how to manage changes in a FHIR IG. So with that, I would like to thank you. And if there is any question, I would be happy to answer.
Questions in the back.
Thanks. Does Bento know anything about FHIR shorthand, or is it just acting on FHIR JSON?
It only looks at FHIR JSONs.
Okay.
Ah. No, it's okay.
Thank you. Great tool. So I'm a terminology server guy, so I'm more focused on the terminology resources and especially the visualization stuff. Do you also visualize dependencies in those terminology resources from the profiles? Because that's, I think, an area where this could be really beneficial, like the reuse of value sets throughout implementation guides. That is something that's often not quite as well understood as it should be, I guess.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. So, that was one of the initial goals that we wanted to basically, like a value set can include multiple code system, and like a value set could be like binded in multiple profile or extensions, right? We were planning to add those features, but again, like, because, we just look at the priorities and then we develop what is needed. But definitely, I agree that was one of the things on our roadmap, and it still is, but we haven't had the chance to implement it. But again, we welcome external contributions. So like hopefully as soon as the tool is open source and ready, like external contribution can help with developing and adding that feature.
So actually following up on terminology, if you've got the same concepts in a code system but in a different order, would it detect that as a change, or is that not a change?
No. Like if you have two code systems that they like basically two exact set of concepts but different orders, that shouldn't be detected as a change. I hope so, but I'll try that.
I have a question. Did you by any chance get to speak to Gino Canessa, who is also here at the DevDays? Gino's been very much involved in generating cross-version extensions, and you wonder what it does have to do with IGs. But so Gino and Graham developed a sense of what has changed from FHIR version to FHIR version, because that is what is expressed in the cross-version extensions. And so I'd be interested to see how your sense of equality and difference aligns with their sense of differences between FHIR versions. So I'm just stimulating you to find Gino and show him this and see what he's done.
That's a great idea. We'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll pick up on that one as well. So IG Publisher has a IG comparison function. And I'm wondering how yours would compare with that, or whether there's something that one could take from the other.
And I think that the IG Publisher difference generator predated the stuff that they did on the cross-version extension. So it might be that they gained way more insights together, Graham and Gino there. So I think this is a nice little subject as a spin-off of this of this talk.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot for your presentation.
Thanks, everyone.